Heal Hallelujah. And you will notice that I am color coordinated today. My roses that are a little out of the frame, but we are going to talk today about moving forward. And when you feel overwhelmed, what do you do? But let's first talk about the heals of the day. Here are some very spring looking heels for today, and I don't remember where I got them. I don't even remember if I bought them or my husband bought them, but I do love them. They are not worn often enough. I've had them forever, and that's why I don't wear them. Well, that's not why I don't wear them. I don't have a lot of outfits to go with them, so I don't tend to wear them a lot. So I guess they've held the test of time. But yeah, so I love them. They're comfortable. I love the bow. I love the color. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, so what do you do when you are feeling overwhelmed and there are so many areas that you feel that you are not keeping up with and it's very frustrating? I tend to be somebody that really likes to accomplish things in a lot of different areas. And sometimes when you tackle too many different things, it can get overwhelming and frustrating. And I just want to share with you what I do when I feel like that. And I did feel like that just this morning. And then I went, wait a second, I know what to do. And so here's what it is. And I'm going to tell you three main things that I do, and maybe it'll help you. So the first thing I do is recall my priorities. Now, if you have never really set priorities or even really thought about that, then I would start with just thinking about if you were able to get something accomplished today and it is your most important thing, it's the most valued thing for you, what is that? And for me, I have three main areas that I prioritize, but even those are in priority order. So the first thing for me is spending time with God. If I don't do that, I don't seem to do anything else very well. So for me, that's a for sure top priority all the time, every day. I don't question it, I just know it. Second is my family. And a lot of times with family, because I still have kids that are living at home and they're not completely independent, this is something that is a priority for me at this point in my life. And I need to keep it as a priority because they won't be here forever. And yes, I have other things that I love to do, but if I always make them take the back burner so that I can get all these things accomplished, I can never get this time back with them. And I happen to believe in my heart that God wouldn't want me to jeopardize that time with them and the relationship with them. And I am really not very good at this, but it is something that I keep working on because I do tend to be the type of person that's always trying to do a little too much. And so things start to suffer, but if it's not working, then I change it. And so I'm trying to get more diligent about keeping my family right there under God, and everything else is going to have to wait. My third thing that I prioritize is on fire. Now, I have other jobs. My husband always says, "How many jobs you got now, Mon?" I have many jobs, but my job with On Fire is something that is really what gets me going and excited and kind of like my passion and fire. And so I try to keep that as a priority, but it doesn't take the place of the first two. So yes, I still work. I do my other jobs that I do enjoy, and those are obviously necessities and things that I'm not giving up. But when it comes to my personal time, I know what my priorities are. So first of all, setting your priorities. The next thing is to decide what would be one step that you could take on a consistent basis that will get you closer to making that a bigger priority and a solid priority for you. And what do I mean by that? Well, for me, when I first started trying to prioritize God in my life, I had always said, well, I just don't really have time right now to do Bible studies or devotions. My prayers were pretty much kind of random, maybe a couple prayers before bed, just random. When the kids were going to bed, we would pray. Before meals, we would pray. But I really didn't open the Bible. I didn't do anything. I thought, I just don't really have time. But I realized at one point that I had been saying that for a very long time. I said that in college. I said that in school after college. I said that early in my marriage. I said that when my kids were little. It dawned on me that perhaps I had to make it a priority, So I did. So my feeling was that if I didn't include God every morning, that I would not do as well during the day. So my way of setting that priority was to decide what I could actually force into my already busy life. And something else might have to go, and that's okay. And so I would get up in the morning, and while I was doing the dishes and making lunch, I would listen to some motivational sermon from a pastor on YouTube. And I just started with that. And I did that every day for about a month. And after that, I realized that I really need to open the Bible myself. And so I started doing that. But it was steps. So it was taking one step at a time, not expecting myself to devote 2 hours right out the gate to something when I'm already busy. It was picking something that I know I could do every day and then building on that over time. And now it is so a part of me that it actually is exciting, and it's really not something I have to think about. It's just a part of my day. As far as my family goes, trying to set dates with them. So I do one-on-one time with my daughter, one-on-one time with my son, and one-on-one time with my husband, trying to actually set dates in the calendar. And then also just trying to keep my time when the kids are home from school from being filled with have-to-dos. So if I can get something done because they have other stuff going on, great. But I really try to avoid any must-dos during that time, because otherwise I will be completely distracted and pushing them away. So for me, I try to accomplish what I can during the day and really think about whether or not that must-do really must be done. So that is one of the things. So the first thing is to set your priorities. The second thing is to decide what action you can take, and it can be tiny baby steps. And the third thing that I'm going to say for me is to continue to recheck in with God and your sense of peace. Now, if you're not a Christian, thank you for listening this along into my talk, because I do tend to have that included in most everything I do. But for you, is your sense of peace still on track? You have to check in with yourself often. And I ask God, and this is what I would put under the umbrella of mindfulness. And I have found that mindfulness is a pervasive thing for me that I am working on. And this includes a lot of areas of my life, because a lot of my areas in my life have not been all that mindful. And because of that, I get very caught up in trying to do what somebody else is doing, or losing sight of what my priorities are. And that gets me really frustrated. So I might watch YouTube videos of somebody that is cleaning their house, and suddenly it feels like a huge priority that my house has to be perfectly clean because that's how they live their life. But for me, that is not really a true priority for me. I do still want to keep up with things. I want it to be easy for people to come in. I don't want us to be tripping over things. But my purpose and my goal in life is not going to be fulfilled by having every corner of my house perfectly clean. And that's okay. And it's okay for somebody else to have their house perfectly clean if that's what their priority is. So I am learning more and more to check in and be mindful. what am I doing right now? Is this even honoring my priorities? Is this something that really is going to further my passion, my goals? And if not, be okay with it and don't try to compare to everybody else and do it the way everybody else does, because there's only one you, and we want you the way you are because that's what you give to this world. So I hope that all of this makes a bit of sense to you. I hope that you can take some of that and maybe use it as some fuel for your fire to keep moving forward and just kind of get reset and get excited for your life, your day, whatever it is that you're going through right now. And in the meantime, send me a message if you have any questions or comments. I love to hear from you. And so until the next episode of High Heel Hallelujah, I thank you for being with me, and God bless. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe or follow and hit like if you liked the video.